Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm host Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host Mike Stephenson.
Hi guys.
So tonight we are going to take a step back to the 90s to view one of our
favourite movies.
My favourite movies, or one of Mike's favourite movies, called
our favourite movie
called Mortal Kombat. That was released in 1995.
Yes.
Not to be confused with the current one that just came out in 2021.
But that's one of the reasons why we're doing it, because it's a bit topical at the moment, because obviously the other movie is out. So recently.
We may review that sometime in the near future. But I just want to review the first two, for these latest podcasts, obviously. Go on, Mike.
I was going to say something. I lost my train of thought. I've been derailed.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta admit though, this is probably one of the better video game adaptations of this sort of thing, because the other ones like Resident Evil, other things like House of the Dead. I mean, House of the Dead sort of one. They always seem to go in a different direction. While this one, it focuses in on the actual telling of the story from the video games without going into too much plot or too much, stuff. Yeah. So go on, Mike.
No, I was going to say it's based on a video game and blah blah blah, and but I just had a brain snap at the time. But I must admit though, I agree with Sarah. Some of these other things they've actually ripped off. I mean, taken from. Computer games, yes, some are average, and this one's pretty damn good. I like it, and being a fantasy action, obviously they can bend the rules a bit to be anything they like, which is really, really good too, because I like that.
Well, one of the things I like about this sort of movie, guys, is that not to necessarily have the characters looking exactly like their cartoon counterparts.
No, and the casting was pretty damn good. I mean, I'll get into the cast in a minute, but when you're doing any movie, it's hard, I suppose, to get the right person for the role. But you're doing a fantasy thing here. Where's your reference point? I mean, you got a caricature of somebody in a computer game or something or other, and you're trying to make that come to life. There's no personality really in the computer game, and you go, well, what am I going to play with here? But you're trying to copy it. So, the people who have done the casting have done pretty damn good.
Yes, so let's dive into the producers, directors, writers, and stars. Maybe the box office, whatever, if we have time.
I will do the... Oh, excuse me, I haven't been sleeping well. Okay. Now, produced by Lawrence Kasanoff, Kasanoff. Directed by Paul Anderson. Written by Kevin Droney, Droney, based on, obviously, Mortal Kombat by Ed Boon and John Tobias. Now, I'll get into the cast in a moment, but I'll have a look at the box office and stuff. The budget was about 20 mil, and actually, I think it was money well spent. I mean, the sets took you into a fantasy realm, and they didn't look fake. They look pretty damn good to me.
Nothing shady about it.
And look good, and look real. And that's what you want. I keep telling Sarah, even in fantasy and fiction, it's got to have a taste of reality.
Yeah, nothing too shabby.
It's in there. Yeah, it's really good. Now, box office, 122 mil. Not bad earner. Not a bad earner at all. Now, some of the players.
That's very interesting.
Right. I won't do all of them. There's a few bit roles in here as well. Okay, a guy called Christopher Lambert plays Lord Raiden. He's like a head god, one of the head gods, like the Thunder God, like Thor and stuff, Robin Shou plays Liu Kang. He's a former Shaolin monk who left the monastery, but he's come back
to avenge his death.
To avenge his brother's death. And he's been dragged into this Mortal Kombat thing. Lyndon Ashby plays Johnny Cage. He's an actor who does martial arts movies like all the other guys, and he's been dragged into it, but he wants to prove that he's really a martial arts guy, not just an actor.
Yeah.
Now, here's one of my heroes. Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa Everyone's saying, who the bloody hell's that? Well, I'll tell you. He plays Shang Tsung. Now, he has been in so many movies. Well, he was in The Phantom. He was in
The Rising Sun.
The Rising Sun of Sean Connery. He's played a lot of bit roles in the beginning, and he's played lots of other roles. He plays when they're looking for a good. I don't want to say cliche, but when they're looking for a good Oriental Asian actor to fill anywhere from a nasty guy to a businessman, he pops up.
Yeah, he knows how to be shifty, shady.
He can be.
Has
nice.
those
He can be a little bit bent.
and no disrespecting Asians, but he does have that shiftiness in his eyes that tell you a story.
No, he's a good adaptable actor, and he seems to get these roles. I looked at it. He made scores of movies and lots of television appearances, and he's been around a lot. Now, I mean, I was going to print off a list of things he's been in, but this isn't about him. It's about Mortal Kombat.
He also has appeared in Mortal Kombat Legacy as an older version of Shang Tsung. So he also made a video game appearance in one of the video games where they used his face in that one. So
go on. Bridget Wilson plays Sonya Blade. She's a special forces officer who's been dragged in because he's after one of the guys who works for Shang Kang, whatever his name is.
Shang Tsung.
Whatever. Talisa Soto plays Katana. She's Outworld Emperor's adopted daughter who decides to help the good guys.
Oh, yes.
A guy called Trevor Goddard plays Kano. He's the guy that Sonya Blade's after.
Incidentally, guys, when he kind of took his own life, in 2000, supposedly he may have had a rough career and he wanted to end his life, sadly.
Can I get into this?
I'm just telling you that what his backstory too.
Fine. Is it relevant?
Yes.
No, it's not. Now, Chris Kazamasa as Scorpion. He's one of the warrior guys who have working for Shang Tsung. Another guy, Francois Petit, plays Sub-Zero. He's one of the crowd, naughty guys as well. I won't go on the other ones here too much.
Mike asked me about both Scorpion and Sub-Zero. He asked them, they come from the same sort of clan? But I told him no. Scorpion come from a ninja clan, while Sub-Zero, he comes from Lin Kuei, if I said it right, maybe I didn't.
Whatever.
A different kind of clan. That's a sort of a rival clan, and they don't get along. According to this one, I think that Shang Tsung got them, had them. They both died, and he has control of their bodies and souls.
He did,
at his command. So go on, Mike.
I can't think of anything else I want to talk about. Well, that's a list of the people. Actually, Cameron Diaz was supposed to play Sonya Blade originally.
I heard about that.
But she dropped out due to a wrist injury.
Something about the fact she was doing I think she was doing the mask at the time, and she hurt her wrist, and she couldn't do any of the martial arts stuff.
Yeah, which is a shame. Because I like Cameron. She's really she's cute.
Yes.
Right. Sarah mentioned something to me earlier on about she thought Sean Connery was in it being...
I'm not sure if it was this one or the next one. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm going through my notes quickly. I don't see anything about Sean's name mentioned anywhere.
Because he was going to be up for the role of Raiden, that I'm aware of.
Yes, okay.
But I don't know. Maybe the fact that he didn't fit that role.
Oh, well, I will mention this one thing. They did do some location shoots. So when the monks' temples where show up at the beginning, at the end of the movie, they're actually old ruins in Thailand. They had to go out there by canoe. They had to take the cast and crew to these little island by canoes, not motorboats, canoes. To do the filming. So, interesting, hey?
Yeah, I agree.
So they actually went all the way over to Thailand to do a couple of scenes at the beginning and the end of the movie. Not bad. Terrific. That's what I call commitment and a big expense.
Anyway. I did like the temples they used and the spots, locations. They're
real places.
I'm a big person on filming on real locations, guys.
Actually, in the second movie, which we might review later on, they actually went to Petra. In Jordan.
Now that is a good location.
And that looks really, really good. We've been there for a whole lot of years ago. And,
I gotta admit, though, as long as you don't take a close look and try to make it out, be pedantic about it or anything like that, it's a good place to actually shoot,
it looks
for
great.
a scene.
It looks old, which is old, yeah. Anyway, do you want to talk about the movie now?
Yeah, so anyway, the story begins where Shang Tsung is fighting Chang, a younger brother to Liu Kang, and of course he's losing. And Shang Tsung tells the audience, "Your brother's soul is mine." So I think he's referring to Liu Kang, and he says, "You will be next." And then Liu Kang wakes from a nightmare, I guess, and he gets a telegram from his grandfather telling him to come back to Hong Kong. I think
he's needed.
He's needed.
Oh, actually, now, can I just get into it early? They're being dragged into Mortal Kombat.
Right.
Okay, pretty much. It's held. A contest is held every generation. Now, I guess every 10 years, 25 years, whatever it is. Now, it's a martial arts tournament.
Yes.
Between representatives of the realms of Earth and Outworld.
Yes.
Okay? Conceived by the older gods. So the thing is, if the Outworld guys can win 10 consecutive tournaments,
yes,
they get to go and take over our realm, which is Earth.
Exactly so.
And this is the 10th tournament coming up.
Yeah, meaning if they don't win this one, then this world is theirs.
Yeah. If the naughty guys win, we're set, we're stuffed. If they lose, then they've got to do another 10 tournaments before they get a chance to take over.
Yes, exactly so.
So, Sarah, carry on.
Yes, so anyway, as Mike says, so we also meet Sonya Blade, who's looking for Kano, a guy who killed her ex-partner, and all this time she doesn't trust anyone.
Yeah. She's a special services lady. Yeah.
Anyway, Shang Tsung wants her at the next tournament because she's a partial... she's in need of this tournament, obviously.
Actually, I think this naughty guy is picking really, really, really good people to compete because when they lose, he sucks their souls and makes them stronger, so they don't want a weak person coming in.
No.
So he's
picking the best of the best because otherwise it would not be a fight. If everyone was, everyone's eligible to take part, you'd be looking at a very long list of particular karate people, martial art people taking part.
Look at Mr. Miyagi. I like it. He would have been good.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so...
Daniel-san.
Also, we meet Johnny Cage, an actor who feels like everyone... All the magazines and the media think he's fake.
Think he's a fake. Yeah.
Well, it's not easy, considering he's an actor, and most of the time actors are usually judged by their performance on screen. They think, oh, this can't be an actor, this is a stuntman doing his jobs, blah, blah, blah.
Look at Van Damme and Jackie Chan and Jet Li or Jet Li, whatever.
Most of those guys, they do it on their own. They do not have a stuntman. Sometimes, other times, they would get someone to do the fighting with another person, but these guys are legit. Obviously, they know that they're the best, and they both are good at acting and being a martial artist.
Well, they're passable acting. That's the whole point of it. If you can get. Like Steven Seagal, okay, he's an average guy. He can act a bit, and he doesn't look too bad.
Yes.
And he does reasonably good martial arts. Okay.
Yes.
Jackie Chan, he's okay. He looks good on screen. He doesn't speak English all that good. He memorises English words to say his lines. That sort of stuff. So it makes it hard for him, probably, but he does all his own stunts.
Yes.
And some of them are really, 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 really weird.
Yeah.
And he does them all. So, yeah.
So, anyway, Johnny's taking part in this latest project, and it's not going so well because the stuntmen are lousy because they continue to goof up on the scene, obviously. Anyway, he tells the director to get stuffed, and he heads to his chair, where he meets his old a karate teacher, who tells him about an upcoming tournament that all professionals are welcome. So Johnny is eligible to take part, obviously, to win the respect and get the finally get people to see that he's not a fake.
Anyway, let's move on.
Anyway, then we get back to Hong Kong, where Liu Kang gets the information that his brother was murdered, and he wants to take part in this tournament so he can kill the person who is responsible. And of course, Raiden tells him that taking revenge on your said killer is not the best reason to take part in a tournament. No,
you're setting yourself up for a fall because you're doing it for the wrong reason. Yes.
Yes, yeah, and even though he does go mouth off that this is all about fighting for the fate of the world, all that stuff. And Raiden remarks that this is why you ran away, because you were scared of the fact that you had to have the responsibility to go to this tournament and save the world before, and everything. But, and that's the real reason behind it, because he fears his destiny of fighting in this tournament.
See?
Of course, he gets tired of dear old Raiden's way of talking, because he doesn't believe this man, this peasant, is Raiden himself.
The god of thunder. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Thinks,
He's on something.
Yeah, anyway, he heads off to the harbour where the suspected boat is going to arrive there, obviously.
It's one of those old Japanese junk type boats. Yeah, it looks very nice.
Yeah, all the said professional martial arts arrived there. I don't know their identities. We only know these three people we see throughout this movie, obviously. It's not important about these other...
There was another guy there, somebody who's a fan of Johnny Cage. He got killed right early.
Arlene something or other. He says he fought in England, and Johnny thinks he's great, obviously. Yeah. And his friend says, the guy says, I think you were great too. I loved all your movies, and you cannot fake those moves.
Yeah, exactly right. So anyone who knows martial arts will know whether it's choreography.
Yeah, only the professionals would know otherwise about this. Anyway, Johnny meets Liu Kang and thinks of him as a bit of a... Well, he wants him to carry his luggage. He's got a lot of bags.
He thinks he's a wharf worker.
Yeah. But fortunately, Liu Kang takes one of his bags and throws it into the water.
After taking his money.
Then we
love it.
Yeah, the boat soon arrives. It comes in this misty,
it looks
foggy,
really mystical, really good,
and it's creepy. And soon enough, as the plank lowers onto the deck, all the people start getting onto it, and including Kano, who is luring Sonya, who is in the darkness, waiting for her to come onto the boat, which she does.
Wasn't he downstairs? Was he?
Yeah, he was
talking to Shang Tsung, was he?
Yeah.
Or the other guy, Goro. Oh, no, he's downstairs anyway.
Well, much later in the story. Anyway, he gets onto the boat, and she follows him, and leaving her partner, Jax and Bricks, behind. Yeah, I know what you guys are thinking. Why didn't he not come along? This is not important.
He wasn't part of this.
Nope. Anyway, soon enough, she runs into Johnny and Liu Kang, and she heads to below deck trying to find him. There she meets Shang Tsung, and Johnny and let me see, Liu Kang also arrive with her, and they meet also Shang Tsung's other warriors, Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Very nice guys, lovely costumes.
Yeah,
nice.
And they demonstrate their power by sort of freezing Sonya's gun, and Scorpion demonstrates his ability by having his sting poking out of his hand.
Little thing on whatever.
Yeah.
Thing on a tentacle.
Raiden appears and tells Shang Tsung not to attack the fighters before the tournament begins.
It's not right. He's following the rules.
Yeah.
Trying to a bit.
Shang Tsung just says sorry for this and all that stuff, and of course, Liu Kang is kind of surprised that this is Raiden all the time. He's got all this power and stuff like that. Well, what do you think? Those eyes being electrical does not exactly look fake to me. Anyway, soon enough he explains to our group that this tournament is a lot more important than Johnny's ego, Sonya's enemy, and Liu Kang's quest for revenge. This is about the fate of the world, according to Raiden. And he explains about how this is the 10th tournament, and the last couple of 9 other ones, every one of them was a failure. Like, no one has ever survived. And all that stuff.
Exactly.
It seems that every single one was a failure. And so anyway, this is the 10th tournament, so that means the fate of the world is on their fair shoulders. Of course, we don't know anything about the other people on this boat. It's not really important. Soon enough, they arrive at the destination, the island where the tournament's going to take place. And it's some, what would you call those islands? Are they somewhere in Thailand or?
Yeah, that area. Yeah. Very nice area. A great place for a holiday, folks.
Yeah, I think I've seen the same islands from.
When James Bond was in The Man with the Golden Gun.
Yes, I was going to say that,
something
Mike.
Something like that.
Yes, I was going to say that. I think that was filmed in the same location.
Or similar.
And
similar
possibly
location,
when they did Phantom too, I'm not sure.
The Phantom as well, yeah. But they use that sort of area because it looks really weird looking. There's
mysterious rocks
and,
and stuff like that. Anyway, they soon arrive on the beach, and Johnny has a difficult time getting his luggage off the boat. Of course.
And he falls in the water with all his luggage. He's a real klutz for a martial arts guy.
And forget reception. There's no way of contacting the outside world because
mobile phones don't work because there's actually electrical interference there because compasses whiz around and there's nothing wrong with your phone.
Didn't you say something about how Sonya's phone would not be out of range from where she was contact Jackson Bricks? From what you told me about these types of walkie-talkies.
She had a walkie-talkie. Now someone will probably say, "Oh, you're full of crap." No, as far as I'm aware, a walkie-talkie only has a limited range of so many kilometres. Okay,
right.
The bigger ones have probably a slightly better coverage, but it's still a walkie-talkie. Mm-hmm. It's going point to point from one machine thing. It's not bouncing off a satellite, as far as I'm aware, and this is going back 1995 as well. So it goes from one walkie-talkie to the other one.
Yes.
No repeater stations, no nothing. And she's trying to contact someone who might be several hundred kilometres away on a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, they've been on a boat.
I don't think so.
They could be miles away.
No, I just said kilometres away, If they were originally in Hong Kong and they're now over in Thailand somewhere or other, it's a bit of a go, So.
Anyway, so they head up the stairs to a very high part to the one of the hills there. Yeah. And forget elevators, guys. There's no elevators on this place.
It's old crap, okay? Just move on, will you?
Anyway, the top part to the mountain looks so much creepier and gory.
Temple and stuff and different things. And actually there's a hollowed out areas inside where they've got cabins where they've got meeting rooms and a throne room and other things. And it's really
Here
good.
we meet Katana, the beautiful princess.
She's a honey bunny.
Yeah. And she's eyeing Liu Kang like, ooh, in a cute, hot kind of way. Pretty way. Anyway, Shunsun sees her as a bit of a... He doesn't trust her. I believe that she doesn't trust her. So he asks his loyal reptile to look after her, keep an eye on her, and keep her away from the humans, obviously. So reptile goes and hides, in against one of the walls to keep an eye on her when she's, on her own, obviously, when she's in company, obviously. So they end up having dinner, and as they're eating, Shang Tsung gets his men to flip their tables, and they give a demonstration to Sub-Zero's power which he does with another fellow.
This is a sparring partner who came off very much second best.
Yeah, and of course he got frozen to death, and it was a flawless victory. Flawless victory is just another...
like in the... Hey, wait, so we had the computer game, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Flawless victory is just another word for, you don't exactly get a punch in, you just end up getting your butt kicked, and that person dies without even trying.
Go on to pieces. Yeah.
Anyway, Liu Kang tries to follow Shang Tsung, and so same could be said for Johnny Cage and Sonya, and they do eventually head into another area where they meet. Well, they don't meet. They actually watch Kano talking to Goro, a four-handed, armed monster of sorts.
Yeah, he's a crippling dude.
Yeah. There to discuss the recent incident and talk about how they like a little one-on-one fighting. Not the usual.
Goro is a lord of the underworld or something or other, a bit like Hades.
A king.
A king of the underworld.
In a different realm, and he goes on to explain how Shang Tsung has learnt these dark arts from the Emperor himself, and they are mostly dealing with sucking out the souls of his opponent.
And that makes him stronger.
Of course. Anyway, soon enough they discuss the contestants, mostly Liu Kang, Sonya, and Johnny, and Shang Tsung explains to them that he doesn't want Katana to mix with them anytime soon. He thinks that Katana is like 4,000 years old. And
she's really ancient, yeah. Hey, it looks pretty good for an old girl. Yeah.
And the rightful heir to the Shang Khan estate, if they're, in where...
Well, they're technically speaking, she is Shang Tsung's adopted daughter. If he hasn't got any other kiddies and anything happened to him, you would think that she would actually take over, wouldn't you?
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she plays a key part, and he tells that he doesn't want her mixing with the Earthlings, the Earth Realmers, and any more than he wants Liu Kang to mix with her and all that stuff. He also doesn't want. He also doesn't want Kano to harm Sonya during their battle, because he doesn't want her harmed, because he has one-sided feelings for her, or something like that. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
Yeah, well, have you seen her?
Oh, yes. I can't admit she's not a nice lady, anyway.
She's pretty, and she's got a nice nature, and she's built like Wonder Woman, and Xena the Princess Warrior, or
our heroes quickly try to get away, but Shang Tsung, Kano, and Goro, they hear the movements, and that's when something weird happens, where somehow the tunnels change, and there we actually see Katana and the guys try to follow her, but they get surprise attacked by a reptile.
Yeah, what they do.
Anyway, they start making their way through the tunnel, and which is odd because some has still got web on it, which would mean that she would have to crawl under hand and foot to avoid the web.
This way. How could he go through there without breaking all the spider webs and stuff?
Yeah. She would have to crawl on hands and knees to avoid the web, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, she wouldn't have done that.
Anyway, he goes on to say that he'd smell a perfume, but it was probably incense, for all I know.
Probably. Sandalwood, patchouli.
They soon arrive back to the same spot back to the same spot that Shang Tsung, Kano, and Goro were sitting in. And Sonya says something obnoxious by saying, "I smell something. Trouble." Well, I'm saying what he's going to say. Soon enough, we get this huge fight between all three of them and some other Shang Tsung's men, obviously. And it's a good fight and stuff like that. And as they're fighting, they do some really cool fight moves.
The fighting moves are really good, yeah. And look, it's a martial arts movie,
Yeah. Anyway, as they wire their handiwork, Raiden is giving them and he says, "Very good.
What about
those guys over there?" Yep. It's just like Indiana Jones when you see a bunch of people lying on the ground, and then you see, oh no, we got 10 more thousand of them.
A big group of people come around a corner.
Of course, Raiden tells them, I don't think so, meaning not to harm them. So he then guides our group outside, and where Liu Kang asks him, "Will Shang Tsung fight in this tournament?" And he says it's up to Shang Tsung if he wants to, obviously. So this is up to him, obviously. Of course.
Anyway, he does.
He does eventually.
He wants to take on
Well, that comes later, obviously. Okay. So, anyway, so as lightning flash, she says that the tournament will start tomorrow, so that he tells him be prepared. So we go on to the next morning, where Liu Kang fights an unknowner. I don't know his name; does not matter at this point, because most
warm up round.
Yeah, and Shang Tsung explains that his island is now going to be where they're going to do their battle moments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So any area is a legit place to fight. Obviously, it does not matter if it has any it doesn't have to have a ring around it. You just have to fight. Period. Anyway, so they begin, and eventually Liu Kang wins, and Shang Tsung sucks the guy's soul out, which makes you think maybe this guy would...
That really sucks.
Yeah. Then Sonya's turn, where she fights Kano, and Kano acts vicious towards her, and all the time Sonya fights back, and we could see Shang Tsung is looking forward to Sonya beating Kano.
Well, hoping. He doesn't like Kano.
Because he tells her to finish him, and which she does. She snaps his neck.
Yep.
And that's the end of Kano. Anyway, so we move on to Johnny, who's wandering the forest, and there he runs into Scorpion, and he does his famous catchphrase, "Get over here!" type of thing.
Yeah,
and his weird little snaky thing comes out of his hand and starts chasing around the forest.
Yeah, of course, it's connected to his hand, so he only goes so far. It's a long, like an umbilical cord. Yeah.
Anyway, soon enough he breaks it, and they end up getting sucked into some kind of hellish dimension. That's how I call it.
That's right. I think it goes back to Shang Tsung's original dimension.
Yeah.
He came from another dimension as well.
Scorpion came from that dimension.
Yeah, but I think Shang Tsung came from another dimension, and he took over this dimension where Outworld is. There's another dimension. It's 3 dimensions.
Yeah. Anyway, this is sort of Neverworld. That's where Scorpion came from, because he died and he got resurrected. Anyway, so that's fighting Johnny Cage, and it's a good fight, and he comes up with several different catchphrases in this one. Like he says, "Welcome," and there's one where he says, "Get down here." Even though it sounds similar.
They take it out of the computer game, obviously.
Well, some of those other ones, except for "Get over here," that's the only catchphrase that's in the game, obviously. But the rest are pretty... I wouldn't be surprised if it was dubbed by the same voice actor, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, so...
Down and boogie.
Soon enough, he reveals his real face, the skeleton face, and tries to burn Johnny. But luckily enough, he uses one of the shields that was left by a dead person.
Dead warrior.
And he finishes Scorpion off, leaving nothing more than an autograph.
And a memory.
Which is similar to another sort of a fatality that's in the game, where Johnny leaves an autograph for his opponent, and that means he concludes that he won. Anyway, then we meet Liu Kang fighting Kitana on the beach. There she tells him briefly that if you don't fight with all your heart, there's no hope. And to win the next fight, you must use...
He used some sort of hint, didn't tell him what to do.
Yeah. What did she say?
Something gives life for something or other.
Use the element that gives life.
Yeah, gives life.
Anyway,
I have no idea what she's bloody well talking about.
Shang Tsung is disappointed with the fight, and I think it ends in a tie. I think that's the better word.
A pair of pants. There you go.
Anyway, we meet Liu Kang fighting Sub-Zero, and there we see what Kitana meant by...
There's a pail of water there.
Yeah, left by Raiden, who I guess left it...
Intentionally. Mm-hmm.
There, Liu Kang uses the pail of water and throws it at Sub-Zero, and it pales...
It freezes on the way towards him, and it becomes like a big spear and goes straight through his chest.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go then, hey.
And, of course, Sub-Zero, he kind of froze himself to death, just like the term Scorpion stinging himself to death.
Well, something like that, but he's not the Scorpion, though, but but same sort of thing,
Anyway,
backfired.
So far, the good guys are winning, and it's time to bring out the big guns, according to Shang Tsung. So he brings out Goro to finish off the some of the opponents, which he does. He kind of polishes the throne room floor with them, when you think about this. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
He does a good job. Mm-hmm.
And soon enough, it's that guy's turn, Arlene, the guy that we talked about, that's Johnny's friend. Yeah. And he doesn't do so well. And he gets his life sucked out like all the other people and into Shang Tsung.
Yeah, it actually must have been during the movie when he gets done now, which is a shame.
Yeah. They feel like they are at a loss end because Goro is powerful. He's big, he has 4 arms, and he's strong. There's no way of beating him because he's so big and no weaknesses. Anyway, but then Raiden tells them that Goro can be killed and stuff like that. But you must first vanquish your own fears, obviously. And he goes on to explain that Johnny's fear is being afraid of being fake.
Yes.
And he'll go into any kind of fight that will prove everyone wrong.
Yeah. So he's all the wrong reasons.
And he tells Sonya that her fear is to go into to fights without even asking for help.
Yes, he said, I'll go alone. Yeah. He doesn't take help when she needs it or wants it. He's a very aloof.
Liu Kang's is an obvious one where he says he fears his destiny, and he goes on to explain that he was responsible for his brother's death. But Raiden tells him every man chooses his own destiny. Yeah. I always believe that, and especially when people make their own mistakes and their own.
Look at me! I'm a fat old balding man sitting here doing a podcast.
Anyway, so we then cross over to Johnny, who tells Sonya that he plans on facing Goro. She fears that he might get hurt. She's not showing very much affection in the scene, but I think in her own way, I think she's trying in the scene a little bit. Anyway, Shang Tsung tells Johnny that he plans on doing the final round, obviously, and hopefully very soon that he'll pick a place outside of Earthrealm to fight in the last competition, meaning it'll be not inside, the on the island, obviously.
His own world. Mm-hmm.
Of course, I think Johnny's starting to learn that he's thinking there's more to this fight than just fighting, to win, obviously, to make him look good. So he's fighting for his friends at this point. So he then eventually faces off Goro, and Goro ruins his favourite pair of glasses. How insulting of that.
He broke his sonny's. Must have been Ray-Bans or something or other.
Yeah, one of those. Anyway, he then, as they're about to take this stance, and Goro mocks saying, I will crush this guy in one blow, type of thing. But then Johnny goes into the splits and hits him where he's in the sweet spot.
Got him right into his genitals. And even he felt it.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's the most... Anyway...
the first time I've seen a martial arts movie where someone's actually gone for the balls. Yeah?
Well...
Honestly.
Technically, seeing as this is Mortal Kombat, there's no
rules?
No rules about kicking someone in the balls.
I'm talking about martial arts movies where people are fighting for their lives. No one actually goes for the nether regions,
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, no one asked. Anyway, so they then have a quick fight upstairs on a sort of...
Well, no, Johnny Cage runs away and lures Goro to follow him, and Johnny Cage ends up on a ledge on the side of a cliff.
Yeah. And he then eventually gets... kicks Goro's ass, and eventually Goro's on the edge, and this is where he says... This is where you fall down, which he said in an earlier piece in the movie, obviously. And Goro slips and falls to his death. Then we hear a screaming noise and find out that Sonya's being taken by Shang Tsung, and he plans on finding her. Obviously, this is the ploy. He knows deep down Sonya is not the right person, because he knows that she would refuse the fight because she'll no doubt lose eventually.
Probably.
Maybe.
Liu Kang has to do the job.
Soon enough, they disappear into to the next dimension.
Yeah, through a portal.
And Raiden explains that they're heading to Shao Kahn's castle in the
Wherever.
the other world where
the other world.
That he cannot follow and all that stuff. So, of course, he does go on to explain that Sonya will not be able to fight him, and if she does not accept the fight, then they can win by default.
Which is wrong.
Anyway, so Johnny and Liu Kang, they're up to them to go to this world to actually face the final challenge, obviously. So they head that way, and they run into a reptile, and he turns into this. It goes into the statue thingy wing, and they kind of fight. He kind of fights with Liu Kang, and eventually Liu Kang wins, and the reptile is defeated. There we meet Katana again, who guides them through the Shang Kong's kingdom, and explains that it used to be called Gdynia, obviously, and that Shao Kahn's fate kind of fought her parents, and when they lost to him, in a few Mortal Kombat yaryas, he won, and he killed her father, I think, and took Sindel and her as his wife and his child, obviously. Of course, Sindel took her life. She committed suicide and left her daughter to be raised by the Emperor, obviously. Anyway, so we then move on to the tower, where Sonya is being held captive in the most weirdest outfit I've ever did see.
Looked good to me.
There we see Shang Tsung, approach her, and she says, "I refuse to fight." Of course, he knows this, and he thinks that if by he'll be winning very easily in this case, and he thinks, but then again, eventually Johnny, Liu Kang, and Katana arrive, and then it's up to Liu Kang to face him in the final challenge. He has to face, he has to do 3 tasks, obviously: face his fear, face his enemy, and face his his destiny, obviously.
And pay his car payment on time.
So funny. So Liu Kang and Shang Tsung start fighting it out, and eventually, when his eyes gets nearly licked, he summons all the dead spirits from using his power, and they eventually start fighting Liu Kang, obviously. And I said this to Mike the other day when we were watching this movie. The reason these people got their soul sucked was because they were not a sharp enough fighter.
Yeah, duh. Losers.
Losers. You are the biggest loser. Goodbye.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, he beats them really quickly.
He kills them all. Yeah.
And,
well, they're always dead. Yeah,
and Shang Tsung says, "I can see into your soul. You will die." Of course, Liu Kang tells him, "You can look into my soul, but you don't own it." He goes up the stairs, and he approaches him, and this is probably where he faces his fear, where Shang Tsung transforms into his brother, and his brother says that it's not your fault, that he was sent by Raiden and stuff like that. Of course,
and Liu Kang says, "You're not my brother."
He goes on to explain that Chang chose his destiny, and every man, is responsible for their own destiny. And he says, commanding voice, "Shang Tsung killed my brother." And then he transforms back into Shang Tsung, and they start fighting it out. And it's soon enough.
Bam.
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah. Liu Kang fights him off, and as he fights him, somehow Shang Tsung loses his powers, I think, at this point.
He loses a bit of the power. I don't know why.
Me neither.
Maybe because the spirits inside him are saying he's a loser. I don't know. There's something going wrong. Actually, didn't some actually escape him?
Yeah, I mean...
It looked like some came out of him.
Yeah. Maybe some of it, or maybe even his powers are getting weakened.
Yeah, possibly because he's taken on too much of these people. Yeah.
Anyway, Liu Kang demands their freedom and all that stuff, and of course he says, "They are mine forever." Of course, as his final blow, Liu Kang knocks him off the perch, and he falls down and onto some spikes that are protruding out of the floor.
Which Shang Tsung, what his name is, Shang Tsung. Whatever, actually set up to kill Liu Kang on.
Yeah. And Liu Kang says flawless victory, which is
Dead person again.
But that's not really true, because the only way you can get false victim is if your opponent doesn't, throw any punches or kicks or anything like that at you.
The guy died. Now, the funny part is right here, then, when he fell on the spikes, he shriveled up and died. They shriveled up went like a mummy.
Yeah, and then soon enough, the spirits from his body start going up towards heaven.
That big sort of vortex above him, and then they all sort of come out of his body like they're going onto the other side where they should have been in the first place.
Then his brother approaches Liu Kang and tells him, "I knew you come," and they have a final moment by saying how much they'll miss each other, and that one day, one day they'll see each other again.
Reunited when you stuff it. Yeah.
Anyway, he then heads off to the afterlife, and there Liu Kang tells his friends it's time to go home.
And they do.
There they go back to the temple, the Shang temple, and there Raiden is waiting for them, and he says, "I've been waiting for you. What took you so long?" And he's like,
they went on a junk probably,
And Liu Kang goes on to explain, "I guess you know this was going to happen." And Raiden says, "Didn't have a clue." Liar. And as they're heading off to celebrate, we hear a rumbling noise and then a cloudy noise, and we see that
we have a sequel coming on.
We see that Shao Kahn appears in the clouds, who says, "You weak, pathetic fools, I come to collect your souls." And Raiden says, "I don't think so." And they all protrude into their fighting stances.
They got to get ready,
The end, obviously.
I'm waiting for the sequel.
Waiting for the sequel, which is probably 2 years later, I think. 2
years later, yeah. Okay, I won't go into all the reviews, but Rotten Tomatoes gave it 47.
Okay.
That wasn't too bad for them. Metacritic gave it 60 out of 100. Now, reviewers praised its atmosphere. I said that. Fighting sequences, production values, and visuals.
Good.
Okay, so a lot of them actually liked what I like, because, when you're doing a fantasy world, you got to make one. And they had a reference point from the art in the computer game. But that's all they had. They didn't have real places. And they said, we'll do that and do that. And that a lot of location scouting for the outside bits, and had to make up all these fantastic, really fancy, really weird sort of sets up for the What's-My-Who's temple and stuff, and where they were hanging out. And it looked so damn good. The Phantom would have loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, so yeah. But the general consensus is average to good, but a lot of people liked the sets and everything, and the acting, and the martial arts and everything. So, okay, I won't go. There's too much there. There's quite a lot of rubbish there.
I did think it was pretty cool, guys. But I like the second movie a lot more, even though some fans don't like it too much. But I think it's pretty good, even though it was a rushed job according to some people.
Some people say it was rushed. I don't think it was. Anyway, I look at maybe they did it quickly at the end, but I don't think it was a rushed job in the sense of, okay, let's put it to bed without actually tying it up properly. I think they did it pretty good. Now, okay, where to get it? No. Oh, we want to rate it?
Yeah, I might as well rate it. So
I'm going to give it.
I'm going to rate it 9 out of 10 myself.
I'm going to give it 9.5. Okay.
I do think it's pretty cool, and
enough.
And so you guys know, they also made a web series type of Mortal Kombat called Legacy. That came years after it, probably in 2013.
Yeah, well, I was going to say something, because there are a few things rolling around when you go looking for this.
Yeah, when you go and looking at up Mortal Kombat, you're going to find lots of Mortal Kombat spin-offs and requels, sequels, or remakes even. And there's also let me see, Mortal Kombat Rebirth, which is more of a short film project that came out. And while that was pretty good, it went for a different direction. It went for a more modern, more action, less fantasy approach, obviously. Quite different from this type of one. And the other one did okay a little bit, but I think the I think the series for when they did Mortal Kombat Legacy, I didn't think it sparked too much of things, because they did season 1, they did season 2, but they couldn't do a season 3.
There you go.
And it also had Mark Dragon in it, obviously, who was a famous actor, somewhat.
Yeah, he did.
And he also, as I said before, the guy who played Shang Tsung in this movie, he also came to be in that one too.
Cary-Hiroyuki.
Even though he's probably a few years old now, because that was back in 2013, so he would be, I don't know what age he would be now, obviously.
He's getting old.
But he would be...
He's been quite a few movies for quite some time, so he's been an old fart like me. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's...
Where to get it?
Where to get it is the big question.
eBay, there's plenty for sale, new and used. Amazon, you can rent it and it's for sale now.
And be sure not to put in the right date, guys. Do not...
I was going to say the other qualifiers, okay? Be careful of VHS copies being an old movie. There are some VHS products still out there. Now, make sure that you get the right movie, because there is the new Mortal Kombat movie. Get the right date. If you're not real sure and it's got people's names there, Christopher Lambert was only in the first one, so if you see his name, you're probably on track. Okay, so but it was 1995. I can't say anything more. Be careful. Don't get a bloody VHS if you haven't got a VHS player, okay?
Yeah.
I keep warning you guys for the old movies, and because every time we go to places like Amazon or different things, I get comments from people who bought products prior, and they say, "Oh, they sent me the wrong item." No, they didn't send you the wrong item. You ordered the wrong item, and because you're in a hurry and you hit on the wrong button. Yeah,
and as I said before, guys, you may come across the video games if in your fast.
Just make sure you're not getting your game.
Just don't get one of those unless you want to get the game stuff you want to.
Actually, speaking about games and things and movies being made out of something, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
That was actually based on a Disney attraction at Disney World or Disneyland or something, one of the theme parks there.
I know.
And I think Haunted Mansion.
You're right.
That was also Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean. There's two that come to mind, and they actually had those things first, and they got the idea. Oh, let's make a movie.
Yeah, I heard about those.
It's really good, hey. And this one comes off really, really good. Even if you don't like martial arts totally, but you don't mind a bit of action, it's not a bad movie.
Well, I always said in the past, guys, if martial arts is not for everyone, it doesn't. And you're not a martial arts person yourself, it doesn't mean you can't enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, look at the Phantom. You don't have to wear leotards to enjoy the Phantom.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's true, Mike. Considering the fact that there are many, like most of my friends I know of, they're not into horror movies, and yet some of them, even some of the people I know who review such things, would often say, "I'm not into this type of movie, and therefore I'm not going to give it a good, flat, nice review."
And I think it's unfair. I mean, if you're going to review a movie, the way we look at it, well, I look at it, but Sarah does too, I believe. We review movies that we think are good or interesting or worthwhile reviewing. We're not going to put up a movie for a review that we really, really loathe, because we're not going to spend any time. We're just going to say, this is a bag of crap. Well, that's not a good review. I mean, if we're not going to review it, we're not going to recommend it. So that's.
I know that most people out there probably would like it if we review something really bad and try. But it's still when these.
Look, I can find a really, really, really horrible movie, but I don't want to take the. I don't want to take the piss out of somebody who's, say, an independent person making the best product that they can make and saying it's a bag of rubbish and blah, blah, and blow the boat out of the water for the sake of getting a few viewers going, "Oh, yeah, I think that's really, really good." Now, I'd rather leave it alone and, because I'm not going to insult the persons for the people,
these people
for their efforts.
Yeah,
no, I'm not going to do that.
Because these people, they value
They've tried
their work, and I don't like it when someone out there goes.
They've had a go, and
they start
if we
bullying
think it's
it.
crap, well, we'll just leave it alone. If it's a halfway movie where we think it's interesting, it's been out there at the theatres, we don't think it was great, but we think it's worthwhile doing a review, we'll rate it down to about 5, maybe. When did we do one recently? Did we? When you rate down about 5 or 6, you didn't particularly like, and we'll do that sort of stuff, but we won't go out there to be troll-like and take the pee out of somebody just to get some brownie points. Nah, not going to do it. Okay, so we respect the people who are trying to do it, okay?
I agree.
Yeah.
So, anyway, guys, now we know where to get it, and now we've rated it, so...
I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. No,
yeah.
That's right, no.
Yeah, and I'm going to get Coke.
You're going to get Coke. And I might have a donut with my coffee, too.
So,
Yummy.
you know where to find it, and and let us know in the comments, like usual, guys, what you guys think of this movie. And
yeah, of course. I mean, your feedback is what makes it worthwhile.
Yeah.
We're not. I mean, I'm talking to a black microphone here, looking at the computer screen, going wiggly, wiggly, wiggly with the recording. Well, that doesn't really give me a lot of joy. What gives me joy is hearing back from you guys.
Yeah, I gotta admit, this is a better adaptation of video game type movie that I've ever seen.
Great. Yeah.
Unlike other movies who base it off a video game, and they either...
Wait a minute, Mario Brothers? That's another one?
They did 2 of those, obviously.
Well, there is one. Yeah, one of Bob Hopkins in it. Oscars movie,
Yeah, he still doesn't like it that the animation is a cut beneath the belt, according to him, even though that's different. I mean, you're going to find no one's going to... I mean, there's going to be a lot of people out there who've been in that particular one or another movie and think that anyone else who does one better than yours, that's a remake, obviously, will come off as either cheap or not, or cheaper,
honestly,
or cheap and nasty.
Me, okay, we're going to close off anyway. But I'm going to say, if anyone's going to do a remake of a movie or do something, you think it'd be better? Hey, think about it. Why spend money trying to make a worse movie than the original?
One thing that does pop into my head a lot, Mike, more than ever.
Yeah.
Why do they, if they are so desperately to make remakes, why can't they make remakes of really bad movies and try to make them better?
No, you know what? I was talking to you earlier on, but there are a lot of really, 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 really old movies. And I'm saying 80 years, 70 years, 50 years, whatever. Old movies which weren't too bad, but they were limited by budget constraints or special effects or whatever, that they could go and revamp an old movie like that, which isn't known that much anymore, and go and breathe a new sense of life into it by redoing it all. And instead of doing a movie, it was done 5 years ago or 10 years ago, we'll redo it. Now go back. You can do... remember that movie I talked to you about, This Is Not a Test?
Yeah.
That old black and white? That was a really simple movie. You could take something like that and make it into something really good today. So yeah, This Is Not a Test. Old black and white movie, I think it was in the 50s.
Yeah.
Have a look, guys. I think it's a great movie.
Yeah,
They've done it on location, side of a road. That was it. And
my point is, Mike, that I almost wish if they want to make a remake, better than...
It should be better than the original.
That I would like it if they actually remade something that was considered a B movie back in the day and try to make it better now.
Well, like Godzilla. The original Godzilla was stop motion and stuff, and then it came on the IT stuff, and they made it more real. You know, the one of...
I know.
the first one came out, what's whatever, came out. When it started, not the Japanese ones, the American ones, And it came out, it was really good because the computer generator made the dinosaur look real. And you go, wow, this took it to the next level. And that's what I'm talking about. You've got to be better than the original. You don't go, we'll go and do the same thing again. Nah.
Even though I think there are people out there who are fans of the original Godzilla movie.
Oh, I like them.
I mean, the ones...
I got a lot of Japanese ones as well and different things. And I like them. But they're fun. It's like The Creature in the Black Lagoon. It's a crappy movie by today's standards, but from when it was done, it's a good movie. So I like watching it too. Anyway,
I have no problem with that sort of thing. It's just that I just don't like it when like when they did that I know I said we've already given the new Resident Evil movie a good review and all that stuff. I did still have problems with that particular movie because it was following the game all the way through without even without even trying to try to
do the storyline out of the game.
Yeah,
not make a storyline.
But seeing as everyone have seen the game, they've seen a live action version of that game now.
Yeah,
and seems to be really 100% exactly like the movie. Even the locations are Easter eggs. You can actually pinpoint the orphanage, the police station.
Exactly.
There are famous spots in those Resident Evil games, and I think the audience out there knows what I'm talking about. About those particular spots I'm referring to. They know, you know it off by sight. While with this Mortal Kombat one, seeing as it's based off, the creator's imagination, but using a little bit of, their own imagination without dragging too many of Easter eggs into the production, obviously. Well, maybe a few Easter eggs, but not too many, obviously. At least then, they're using their own imagination for this movie, trying to bring a little bit of creepy, Asian type mythology into this movie, obviously.
Well, there you go then.
And I think it was pretty cool how they pulled it off.
You want to kill it now?
Yeah, might as well. Anyway, so you know where to find it. Our thoughts on it.
Remember, Mortal Kombat, 1995.
Not 2021.
And a reference point, Christopher Lambert played the original Raiden. I believe he's only in one movie.
Yeah.
So, I think Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa was only in one movie. So if you use that as a reference point, you should be able to get the right product.
Don't confuse it with a video game.
No. Make sure you get a movie.
Because I know how whenever someone orders something, you may get mixed up.
Sometimes I've seen people. I got that and I got a poster. Sorry, you dickhead. Hello.
All right, you know where to find it, guys. So be sure to check it out and let us know in the comments what you guys think of it. And we'll see you guys for our next podcast, everyone.
Cool.
So this is Sarah
and Michael
saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.